Alright, I'm SideStreet KED, the effing gang leader of the Dungeon family, Dungeonese. That's first generation, second generation, third generation, any generation you want to add on to that. I mean, honestly, man, just being a kid in LA in the 80s, I mean, I didn't really know nothing else, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't something like I decided. I felt like I was born into it. It was because, especially at that time, music was more of a social commentary of life at the time, and it was describing my environment and everything. And it spoke to me in a way that nothing else did. So naturally, I would emulate it and try to be that, I guess. You know what I mean? Speaking as a child, looking up to something. Along the way somewhere, you know, people encourage you, like, you good at it, keep doing it, you know. The first time probably I ever heard like a De La Soul record. Like my older brother, you know, brought a De La Soul record home one day. And up until that point, you know, we listened to more like West Coast gangster type stuff, you know what I mean? Or like party music. And so when I heard that De La Soul album, I don't know, it just left an imprint on me. Like, wow, this is something, it's like, it was more like art, you know what I mean? And that kind of got my mind going into music and stuff and just being more creative and the possibilities, you know. Man, I've done a little bit of everything. It was a time when I was pause mixing tapes, you know, of stuff. And then I would, you know, make my own cover designs like by hand and cut them up and put them in the tape case and pack them in the backpack and go ride the bus and train and sell them. You know what I mean? Like I've done pretty much any and everything you can think of. You know, anything that sounded like a good idea to me, I tried it. You know, doing shows, open mics, putting out my own stuff. Before there was ever an iTunes or anything, when I was, you know, on my mama's computer, I was selling CDs over the internet. You know what I mean? Like, I just always been trying to find that next move, that what would be good for me type vibe, you know? You know how your family is, man. They always think that you making a mistake and it's a waste of time and you just slacking and this, that, and the third. It wasn't until I started getting a buzz around myself and they start hearing it from other sources, people talking about it, and they start noticing that they started respecting it as being, oh, okay, this is what he does. Up until then, you know, go to school, get a job, do this, you know, that kind of vibe. Biggest challenge I've been able to overcome so far really is just kind of building my own genre, you know, and not losing my hardcore, like, hip-hop fan base, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, cause of course I'm a rapper. That's what I do. Lyricist. That's where I come from. It's where I'll always be. However, I'm an artist as well. So I like to expand and push my boundaries and see if I can go into different stuff. You know what I mean? So through that, I've kind of developed my own, it's still hip hop and rap, but I like to call it punk hop. You know what I mean? Because it has that rebellious attitude to it. It's more guitar driven and that kind of vibe, and being able to translate that and build new fans as well as retain my core audience, I think was one of my biggest challenges. And then not only that is being black and doing it, because the form of music that I make, people usually, they tend to associate that with a white artist. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, that's kind of like, you know, Blink 182 or something like that, but with rap. You know what I mean? But it's really not. It's kind of, I mean, you know, I came up under Outkast. So naturally, I'm going to experiment, and not even just experiment, I'm going to perfect my experimentation. You know what I mean? And I'm going to do something that's true to me. So when I get out there and I do it, you can feel it. It's real. It's not me imitating something. This is what I do. You know, my responsibility to it really is to preserve the art. You know what I mean? It's just like a graffiti artist. You wonder why somebody can have a style that is, you could say that's a classic style, and he's running it now. It's because he's a graffiti artist. He learns, or like a jazz musician. Before he starts doing his own things, he usually learns the standards. You know what I mean? So, of course, you got to respect the boom bap. And you also have to understand that a lot of those original hip hop records were rock breaks that they were scratching over drum beats. You know what I mean? And 808s and stuff like that. Like, it's always kind of been a kindred spirit to it all. So as long as you stay within your self, what's true to you, you know what I mean? You'll never leave that. As soon as you start trying to imitate something, you lost it. The VH1 Awards. Just being able to be a part of that, with the Dirty South Legends and Organized Noise and all of that, that was a major, blessing for me. It was like, it was monumental, you know what I mean, to be on that side of the game, as being an artist that I've never had an official release per se. I've never been signed to a label. So, traditionally you would have to be that kind of artist to be involved in a VH1 award, you know what I mean? Especially a Legends award, you know what I mean? So just being there, being in the box, being, rubbing elbows with people like Luke and Timberland and, even like Leor Cohen and all that kind of stuff, like that was really kind of cool. And just being on TV, that was cool. The reason I really even make music is because it's my real only tool, I feel, is my voice to be able to affect change in the world for the better. You know what I mean? I've seen how other artists, growing up as a kid and stuff, how other artists were able to influence me growing up, influence my friends and peers and all this stuff as well. And so I know the power in it, you know what I mean? And that's why I kind of chose the craft, is because I felt like I had a voice or have a voice and I want to express it. And what's the best way to do it? You don't want to go be a school teacher. I don't want to go be a preacher. I don't want to go be a politician, you know what I mean? But I can be out here with my people in the streets, on these records, on these stages, doing these shows, putting my message, my word out from my heart with nobody telling me what to do. Because I'm an independent artist. I can say what I want to say.